All right, there's enough of the fooling around with the fiddle music for today. Hello, I am FiddlinJonny, and this is my fiddle channel and a magic review. And boy, do we have a big one for you today from Abstract Effects. It is Summit by Patrick Kuhn. Anyway, there's been a lot of hype around this effect, a lot of controversy, lots of questions. Look, I work as a magician, do professional gigging, and you're going to get my honest opinion about this product. And we'll talk a little bit about the hype. We'll talk a little bit about the not totally honest ad copy and that sort of stuff. So stick around and we'll get right into this review. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Really glad that you're here. Today I'm not going to go through my normal routine of sort of pros and cons and all that sort of stuff. I want to just get into a lot of what the issue is here with Summit. So if you're brand new to the channel, you don't know who I am, I'm FiddlinJonny. I do fiddle and magic reviews, and I am a magician who does corporate events, walk around events, even street performing. So I get paid professionally to work as a magician. So you're getting these reviews from someone who works in the real world and does this stuff, and has been doing it essentially my entire life. So I hope that's helpful. I purchased these products myself, almost all of them. This one, purchased by me, was not sent an advance copy by the other brothers, maybe next time other brothers, or Abstract Effects, but paid this with my own money, so you know you're gonna get an unvarnished, honest point of view here with this. I don't wanna waste your time, so let's just get into what is the controversy with this, or talk a little bit about this product. So the product is done by Patrick Kuhn. It is, and it's called Summit, and it's based upon Patrick's earlier version, or very similar, called Instagrab. And an Instagrab, essentially, it is a thought of card pulled from a cell phone. You see a picture of a folded up card, and you pull it out, and it is the thought of card. It's essentially the same effect from Patrick, except it's done with thought of card to Sharpie. I think it's a powerful effect. I think it's a strong effect. And despite that, some folks might think, like, I don't quite understand the plot doesn't make sense. Look, when we talk about plots in magic, a lot of the plots just don't make sense, but it still creates a sense of wonder with your spectator. So a lot of people have compared this in some ways to Inferno by Joshua J, which is essentially a scorched or burnt card in a tin. And the methods might be slightly different, but people say they like that one a lot better. But when you talk about routining and it not making logical sense, who would carry a burnt card in a matchbox with them? So same sort of thing. Why would anyone carry a Sharpie in a card in Sharpie? It doesn't matter. I think it works. That's my long-winded takeaway, trying not to waste your time and get more into this. So anyway, that's what the effect is. The challenge, I think, for a lot of folks here is that the ad copy, to be honest, was just really inaccurate. And I feel like the other brothers did the community a disservice by not being more honest. So let's get into some of those things, very specific. One, you cannot, your spectator cannot choose any card, all right? There is limited of only 12 cards that can be chosen for this version, all right? So only one of 12 cards can be chosen. They say there's no equivoque, and there are two versions. One is with equivoque, and one is not with equivoque, taught on the download. I personally like the equivoque version better. They use the equivoque and say they actually like it often better as well. Both versions work. And I'll talk a little bit later. I've been workshopping this on Zoom presentations. And so I have presented to a number of folks, been asking for feedback, what they thought, what their perception was. And I'll talk a little bit about which version they liked and which version I liked. So those are sort of the biggies as it's related to this product, is that the ad copy was disingenuous, and I think for folks who are considering this product, that could be a deal breaker. So if you're somebody who, because of look, that the ad copy was misleading, you're not going to purchase it, then I don't have any problem with that. Like, I respect that decision. But if you're going to overlook that and you want to consider this product, I'll go into some of the details of things that you need to know. I'm going to go ahead and actually reveal things, but only because the other brothers have already revealed them in videos that they've done online. I'll put links down in the description to those videos. I'm going to reference several of those throughout this review, and you can go and watch those. So let's talk a little bit about what you get. So packaging, really nice. You know, I'm always one like, I haven't historically cared about packaging all that much. I care more about what is the product, but the packaging, if you care about that, it's nice packaging. You're going to get 48 minutes of instructional video, and it's pretty good 48 minutes of instruction. You're going to get a gimmicked Sharpie. Here is my gimmicked Sharpie. And in fact, it's a regular Sharpie that they've done something to it. You're also going to get 6 gimmicked playing cards, all right? And the 6 gimmicked playing cards are done on USPC bicycle redback, riderback cards. So you know that you're getting good quality cards. You're also going to get then a 3D printed gimmick. And as soon as I say 3D printed, and when I saw it initially, I thought, ugh, this is 3D printed. They probably did this at home. At the end of the day, it's really good. And what is this gimmick? I'm going to reveal it only because the other brothers have already revealed it online. It is an index system. So you're going to get 6 gimmicked cards with 12 outs, and you're going to use an indexed system. And that indexed system is obviously used with rolled up cards that you have to load into your Sharpie. All right. That's that on there. Let's talk real quickly about the instructions. I'm not always a big fan of the other brothers' instructions because a lot of times I feel like it's a little bit of jazzing and talking about ideas and not details. This one I felt like they did a pretty good job, better than some other products I've recently had where it went into a level of detail that I thought was just fine. And they talked about some of the subtleties of the performance here, which I think was really helpful. All right, so the one complaint, and this is a big complaint on this one as it's related to what they teach you. There is no uncut performance, even though the trailer shows a performance. It's been cut, but clearly they went out, they performed it, they got footage of that, and then I would expect that I would see that on the instructions. No, it's not there at all. In fact, they reference it in the training that they some points about it, but then you don't see it. With that said, there's good news. It is posted, and I don't know if it was posted afterwards or in advance of, but you can go to YouTube, I'll leave the link, so that you can see several uncut performances done by the other brothers on this release. So they do exist. It just wasn't included with this, which makes no sense to me at all. So folks over there at Abstract Effects, if you're watching, go ahead and tack that on. You've got 48, what is it, how many minutes of instruction I said already. You can add some more by just adding those to the download. I think would be awesome. Even if you don't feel like the quality is great, at least you get to see uncut performances, which I think are really helpful. All right, I think I'd mentioned already the gimmicks are fine. I don't have any issues with those. You just have to trust me on that. They work, they do their job. They're not, I don't feel like they were chintzy, and will work. Let's talk about the skill level. The skill level is intermediate skill level. And I say that it's intermediate skill level because I think if you're really going to perform a freely chosen card, that you're using the type of force that they use here, I think it's best done with folks who are probably at that intermediate level. Can a beginner give it a shot and make it work? Yes, of course, because it's easy enough to make that occur. There's no hard slides, there's no knuckle busting moves. All you have to do is be able to load your Sharpie with a rolled up chosen card in the middle of your performance, while keeping your Sharpie in full view the entire time. So if you can do that, then you can do this. But I think that's an easy part of it. I think probably more importantly would be your performance and how you get them to choose the card. Let's talk a little bit about pocket space. I will probably at this point cut to a shot of me with the index system in my pocket, so you can see it doesn't really take up a lot of space. You're going to have 6 rolled up cards in their index that they have created and have that in your pocket. I thought when I saw it, it would take up too much space, would be totally unworkable, especially if I was working in jeans at all, that they would be too tight and not able to access it. I was totally wrong. It sat in my pocket very small, not a problem, and access was easy, very usable, and not noticeable. And you'll hopefully see that from maybe a picture or two or a little video I will insert here at this point. I didn't like it when I looked at it in the box, to be honest, but when I used it, I went, oh, I was wrong. It works just fine. That will take up some pocket space, so if you're already preloading your pockets with lots of other stuff, it is something to consider. When I work professionally, I wear almost always slacks or dress pants, and they're more loose fitting and have more pocket space, and so I think for me in a professional setting, it's even that much easier, but it didn't pose any problems in jeans for me. Okay. Some of the nice things, your pen is going to stay in view the entire time, and in the ad copy they show the spectator unraveling the card. Is that possible? Yes, but I don't know that I would recommend it. The other brothers do spend time, and I appreciate it, in the instructional video about them doing that, how they do it, and it worked. I'm going to try it in the real world myself when I can get out there and perform for people in the real world to see what they sort of think about it. So let me go back a little bit to any freely chosen card, and it can actually only be 12. You only really have 12 cards. Those 12 cards are court cards. So the only card that can be chosen is a court card. I'm not revealing anything here because the other brothers have already done that online. Of those court cards, you know, you really, as I had said earlier, you have 6 gimmick cards. They say in the ad copy there is no equivoque, and that's partially true. Is that there is an equivoque version and a non-equivoque version. In that I've been workshopping this online with folks and been doing virtual presentations, and mostly for workshop purposes, not professionally. I'm just workshopping it to sort of get a sense of it online. And as I performed it for folks, I tried to do I always started off with the first version of the other brothers version, which is the non-equivoque, and really I think they called it, Daryl called it, an asymmetrical equivoque. I, from a performance perspective, prefer to do equivoque to get them to one of the chosen cards. But my spectators, on asking them afterwards, they preferred the other brothers, the non-equivoque version of the presentation. So that surprised me a little bit. I still like doing an equivoque version, but it actually kind of worked. It may not work every single time, 100% of the time, their non-equivoque version, and there's an easy out for it, easy to perform, not a big deal, but something to consider. So that's my experience with this. My spectators like the other brothers version better than the equivoque. Now that might speak a little bit to me. I feel very comfortable doing equivoque. I think I do it pretty well. But my spectators still preferred the other version of it. So when I was doing follow-up with them afterwards, asking questions, those sorts of things. So, and the one thing is that no one ever notices that you're loading it live in front of them. So in fact, I loaded, I don't know, at some point during this presentation, I loaded this in front of you and put a card in it. There was not a card in it when we started, and getting this apart obviously can be a little bit of a challenge, but trust me, there's a card loaded in here. Now of course this would be terrible in real life. I can't get the damn thing apart. Something to consider. Okay, what else do I want to make sure that you know? The spectator in the ad copy, the spectator reveals the chosen card. You don't actually know, it says you won't know what the card is until the spectator reveals what the card is. Again, not accurate. you know that it's one of two cards, okay? So, you know it's one of two cards. Enough said there. So you don't need cards, which is really nice. I've talked about that it's an index system. Actually, in the trailer, if you watch closely, you'll notice that Daryl, when he is performing, he actually briefly does an exposed view of him loading the pen with the card. The spectator doesn't see it from their point of view, but from the camera point of view, you can see it. So if you watch it enough, you'll notice that you'll actually see Daryl loading the pen in the middle of the performance. And then once you hand the pen to your spectator, it's already loaded. All the work is done. And from there, it's super, super clean in terms of doing that. All right, so I think the other brothers would have avoided a lot of problems here if they had just done a full uncut trailer for folks, and it would have taken care of a lot, I think, for folks. You don't really end clean here. They show the other brothers unrolling a card, and I'm sorry, they show the spectator unrolling a card and for the reveal, and they show you how to do that. I probably wouldn't recommend that. You could probably do the same effect in multiple ways. You wouldn't have to use an index system. You could use maybe a one-way forcing deck, or use any force that you like. If you wanted to use an actual packet of cards, use a force, have the card disappear and have it show up in the Sharpie. So with your force card already preloaded in there. So there's other ways to get there. You could purchase the system and go with those systems if you wanted to. All right, let's go with some of the real pros here. It is a worker. Despite a lot of criticism, and appropriately so, for poor ad copy, this is a worker. I will add this in a real set. I'm not going to say I'm going to add it permanently, but I can find myself liking it enough that I can see myself using this in the professional setting. It's solid in that respect. So, and it's, you know, there's no difficult slide, so it's easy to perform. I think the effect is strong. You can do it surrounded. Doesn't have any sort of those real angle issues. The pocket space is minimal for this index system. I actually like the Equivoque version better. And your Sharpie can pretty much be examined afterwards. And I'll have to play around with that in the real world, but I feel like I can hand out the Sharpie and no one's going to notice what's going on there gimmick-wise. They might if they spent a lot of time with it, but wouldn't be something in terms of my style and how I handle it, that they wouldn't be holding it for so long that they would figure it out. The cons are just the ad copy is just misleading, and that's a biggie, all right? And you can't really hand out the card at the end for them to hold or take away with them. That's not possible. And if you're doing table hopping, I think it's difficult to do this table hopping because the reset, for me, I just find it's just a real pain to roll up my card and really tiny again, get it small enough so that I know when I'm doing the load, it'll actually fit into the pen. If you don't roll up your card quite tight enough, getting the load into your pen can be a little bit of a challenge. And I have found like I've putzed enough with it now that like, okay, I feel like I've got that down. But at the beginning, you might want to not give up, but know that you want to make sure you get your cards rolled up really, really tight. Who's going to like this? I think anyone who is a worker doing close-up, even walk around, even though the reload's a challenge. If you're doing restaurant work, you're doing a small parlor show, I think it's all fine. So I think magicians who do close-up work will like this. Let's talk a little bit about the cost. The cost is $55. I think it's a bit much, to be honest, at $55. I think it would probably, the appropriate price would probably be closer to maybe $40. I get that there's expense in putting this together, like this box and production of the box probably costs a lot. The fabrication process for their 3D printing of the index system takes some time and some material, so there's cost there. So it might balance itself out there, but it feels a little high priced to me. But again, from a worker, a single gig will pay for this, pay for itself, and I could get, you know, maybe years of use out of it. So, all right, that's it for Summit. There it is, boom, Summit by Abstract Effects. I hope that's helpful. I have been workshopping it, trying to get feedback on it. using it so that I could give you a real good, honest review. And I think at the end of the day, here's my takeaway. The takeaway is that the ad copy was really deceptive and inaccurate. And so that in and of itself is going to turn a lot of people away. If you're able to overcome that and still consider purchasing it, I think it's a worker and it's a solid effect. However, when we have folks who are putting out ad copy that's not accurate, you know, sometimes there's just going to be consequences, and folks may choose not to purchase it because they feel like it is inaccurate. So I hope that's the information that's going to be helpful for you if you're considering or not considering this product. All right. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate that you're here. Go check out all my other videos. I pay for these myself. So if you could subscribe would be great. Share it with friends. That sort of stuff would be really appreciated. All right. My name's FiddlinJonny, and remember to keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.